Set up. Let's go. Good morning, comrades. It is Tuesday, the 22nd of June, 2021. This is your daily Good Morning Comrade. We got some cat action going on in here. Take a look over there. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, they're shy. Look at that. We got some cat action. They had empty bowls this morning. Oh, look at Stevie. Oh, that's definitely Flick. We're having a good morning. Hope everybody's having a good morning today. Yeah, I was up a little late last night doing a very special live stream. I don't know if y'all saw it. The Sam Cedar versus basically showing up. It's kind of ridiculous to call it a debate because Steven Crowder just like tried to talk shit and ran away, which is just like epic coward shit. Like he just ran away from Sam Cedar. But whatever, it is what it is. It's over. And now the fun part begins where Steven Crowder tries to save face. Here's the sort of the highlight of the whole thing, at least the beginning. For those of y'all who didn't see it.
Oh, jeez.
This is when Steven Crowder sees that Sam Cedar's there.
Okay, so this is what's going to happen. What did I tell you? He was going to do anything he could to avoid. Oh, there he is. Oh no, Sam Cedar. What a fucking nightmare. I had no idea this was going to happen. I thought Ethan was a stand-up guy. This is where we are. Yeah, I told Dave, remember I told you? I said I guarantee you he's going to do anything he can to avoid the debate.
Well, I just think he believes that he should debate you.
No, he doesn't. He just takes advantage of women with,
mental health issues.
Ethan Klein doesn't stand up and do his own fighting.
I gotta say,
it's just hilarious. Let's bring on FM.
You would do anything to avoid talking to me. I think the point that you made
at the beginning
of
Joe
this
Rogan.
Yeah, Joe Rogan and Dave Rubin and Jordan Peterson and Noam Chomsky and Sam Harris. Everyone's been avoiding.
Not just attempting to get your audience by jumping in.
Well, I debated with Charlie Kirk. Stephen, it's about issues. Let's talk about those issues.
That's what you're doing here.
Valid points.
You're so clever. I had no idea that you were taking your show off early last time, coming in today with your pig pen peanuts on.
I wish everything.
Just an absolute meltdown. He just outs himself as a loser who was watching, to make sure that looked both ways before the car was coming or whatever. Then he was just wait a minute, I thought you were supposed to be doing your show. It's very, very funny. the fact that he's just telling on himself like that. Hey, G Wolf, how you doing? But yeah, we covered all that last night. Definitely worth checking out for a laugh. But like sometimes when I'm talking about this with people who are not engaged with it, I feel like I'm doing this. I feel like I'm this guy. Just sort of like bro-splaining this whole situation. This whole like it is worth remembering that this is like extremely online like streamer drama. And that's really what it is. It's like people with like relatively big audiences or whatever, but it's also hilarious. Like I can't get enough of it. It's just too funny. I don't know. So how's everybody doing? I didn't see what you put on Discord. I'm gonna check it right now. Checking Discord right now. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, yeah. You got him Soy. You got Soy, Steven Crowder. Yeah, classic. Wait, what the fuck? I'm such a boomer. I'm such a boomer. I can't even open a meme without destroying the show. My bad. My bad. Let me try that again. Classic Jeff. You didn't do it. I did it. I'm the dumbass. Yeah, there you go. You got Soy Crowder. I had already, liked and retweeted that one. Classic shit. Incredible. But yeah, like it is very much like inside baseball shit. Like if you're not like a person who watches a lot of like online content, you probably don't care. But like, I don't know. I think this does matter. I think to at least some extent it matters to at least the online audiences that watch this kind of stuff all the time, like the weird degenerates that like me, who pay attention to it. And plus the fact that it was on like a fairly, how many viewers or how many subs is H3H3 has? Yeah, I'm such like a weird boomer when it comes to this stuff too. I don't even know what H3H3 was until this happened. They have 3 million subs, so that's pretty good. I think most of their stuff is podcast anyway, but still, 3 million subs is like triple seater, which is pretty good. But yeah, streamer drama, always good for me. I love it. Can't get enough. 6.4 million? Not on YouTube, huh? Unless there's like multiple different channels. I can't. H3 podcasts. 3.3 million subs. That's what YouTube says. Unless it's like something else. 3.03 million subs. He has 3 channels. Oh, is that combined? Okay. I don't know, man. Like, yeah, H3 Productions. Yeah, 6.4 on H3 Productions. That's it.
Hey, man, I have no.
Okay. Got it. Whatever. It's all good. It's all good. I know that Kim Kelly was on now today. I didn't see what. I knew it was about the striking coal miners out in Alabama. There was a going to be some kind of action on Wall Street to sort of bring some attention to the Warrior Metro workers, coal miners, workers who have been on strike for over 2 months now. Let's see here. Her. Here she is. All right, good. Good. This is Kim Kelly on Democracy Now! I've been waiting for this for a couple days now. So let's take a look at what she has to say.
These miners have been on strike.
Cut the music. All right, here's Kim Kelly.
Strike since April 1st on unfair labor practices strike. They have been out for almost 3 months now. On April 8th, the local union leadership and the company, they came together with a tentative agreement that they presented to the membership, and the membership overwhelmingly voted that down and voted to stay out on strike. And now they've been out there on the picket lines every single day ever since. They haven't gotten very much outside media attention. They've gotten a lot of local support and support from within the labor movement. And today, a group of the miners and UMWA officials, as well as some international labor leaders, Sarah Nelson from AFA and Stuart Applebaum from RWDSU, are out here protesting, picketing in front of these venture capital investors' offices, because these are the companies that fund Warrior Met and allow Warrior Met to pay their executives millions of dollars a year, while the miners, the workers themselves who are creating that value, are struggling to get by on sometimes as little as $22 an hour to spend 6 days a week, 12 hours a day underground in one of the deepest mines in North America, which also happens to be filled with methane gas.
Good. Pretty good. Let me see if there's more I can get for that. No, it's not posted yet. Oh well. We'll probably cover that tomorrow then. Just to kind of get some more of the coverage of what's going on with the mine workers. But this is good. It's good that we're gonna have United Mine Workers folks from Alabama showing up at these Wall Street offices and making that very specific and clear connection to capital funding, companies like Warrior Met, who just want to, essentially tamp down on the workers and turn as much of a profit as possible. So that's good. For a start. Yeah, we'll just kind of keep an eye on this going forward. But unfortunately, there's not a whole, unless somebody watching has anything else, wants to share anything, let me know. But you wouldn't go down there for $100 an hour, right? I mean, like, that is a pretty goddamn scary job. When Jacob and David and Adam from the Valley Labor Report, friends of the show, did their fundraiser for the United Mine Workers folks, another actually friend of the show, Max Alvarez, did an interview with one of the coal miners and his family. And one of the things that he essentially described, and that was like very, very haunting to me as someone who does not like, enclosed spaces or whatever, or generally dangerous situations, I suppose, described like descending down in the elevator for like several minutes, going down like deep into the heart of the earth to get all this freaking coal. And then, like, if you go to, like, he basically said, if you go and you get this kind of, in this kind of area, you can start a fire. If you go over to that kind of area and breathe this, specific chemical or whatever, you're just gonna die. It's just like, what the fuck, like, that's, and again, with the suits and the people who are don't ever have to put on a tool belt or put on a hard hat and a helmet, are the ones that are making all the money, and the people that are going down there and actually doing that work, pulling that coal out of the earth, and generating the record profits that this coal company is getting, is they're getting squeezed to the maximum. They're getting basically nothing for it. So, good for these guys and gals and non-binary pals out in Alabama for standing up for themselves, because that's what we all need. And yeah, that's where we're at right now. So yeah, beyond that, I wanted to talk about NCAA rulings, because, like, again, Supreme Court is a mess, but sometimes it makes decent decisions, and you don't really understand why this happens. It's a little odd. I'm gonna pull this up really quick. So this is from SCOTUS blog. NCAA athletes win 9-0 on educational perks as Kavanaugh calls out a ban on direct payments. What? Supreme Court on Monday reshaped the relation. So just to set this up a little bit, the NCAA is like famous for like not paying its athletes, or like having that be like officially against the rules. And there's a bunch of like ways that schools have, especially in like tier one, like top level sports, like football, Division 1A football. There's this sort of like informal market where people are, would get like things like cars just out of nowhere from a boosters group or whatever to sort of incentivize it, and all these other things. But like in an official sense, players could not profit off of their likeness, off of their, amateur status as an athlete at these like extremely high profile institutions in this extremely high profile sport, which is like wild, right? If you're doing, if you're gonna be existing in this like capitalist structure, essentially the fact that you can't, as a worker, I suppose you could say, I would say that you can't make any money off it other than like scholarships, is like very, very extremely exploitative. Now, the argument that they would always make, the schools or people who defend the way that things are would always make, is that, well, they're getting a top level education, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, anyway, court cases, lawsuits were filed, and it reached the Supreme Court the other day, and athletes win on this case. So let's read. Supreme Court on Monday reshaped the relationship between universities and athletes who play college sports. An opinion by Neil Gorsuch, the justices unanimously ruled that the National College Athletic Association cannot prohibit its members' schools from providing athletes with certain forms of education-related benefits, such as paid postgraduate internships, scholarships for graduate school, or free laptops or musical instruments. Although the decision did not involve cash payments to college athletes, it may pave the way for future Supreme Court ruling on whether college athletes should be able to earn money for playing sports, either directly from their universities or through lucrative endorsement deals. In a concurring opinion, Justice Brett Kavanaugh wrote that NCAA policies banning those types of compensation, quote, raise serious questions under antitrust laws. So that's pretty interesting. These are two bad justices, Gorsuch and Kavanaugh. Monday's decision in NCAA versus Alston ended a dispute that began 7 years ago as a class action lawsuit filed against the NCAA and major collegiate athletic conferences by athletes who played Division I football and basketball. Under the NCAA's rules, universities generally are allowed to provide athletes with scholarships covering tuition while they are NCAA eligible, and they are allowed to cover basic expenses like textbooks and room and board. But most other forms of compensation are banned. Well, not anymore. The athletes contended in their lawsuit that the NCAA's restrictions violate federal antitrust laws by barring the athletes from receiving fair market compensation for their labor. So this is like a free market justification, at least, for this, which is like not my favorite, but the fact that these athletes are able to make money off of this when they're smashing their brains in, specifically football players, but like every sport as well, is a good thing. A federal it essentially means that it could be more regulated at some point. It's considered more of a job than it is this like weird, like nebulous space between like a job and in school. A federal district court in California agreed in part. It's ruled that the NCAA could restrict benefits that are unrelated to education, such as cash salaries, but barred the NCAA from limiting education-related benefits. After the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit upheld that decision, the NCAA and the athletic conferences went to the Supreme Court, which late last year agreed to take up the case. So again, this is not like salary stuff. It's not like payment stuff, but it like could potentially pave the way for that. Gorsuch first added which legal test should apply to NCAA's rules restricting athletes' compensation. The district court applied the most common test in antitrust laws, known as the rule of reason. That sounds like a bad rule, but let's see. The NCAA contended that a less stringent test should apply because the association and its members act as a, quote, joint venture and have to work together to, quote, to offer customers the benefit of intercollegiate athletic competition. What? They're offering the benefit of intercollegiate competition, but they're making millions of dollars off of this. But Gorsuch noted that less stringent tests apply only in extreme cases when it's easy to determine what impact an agreement will have on a competition. That is not the case here, Gorsuch stressed, because the NCAA and its members control the market for the services of college athletes. The potential anti-competitive effects of the NCAA's restriction has, he concluded, demand a searching inquiry. So that's interesting. That's interesting. In his final paragraph, Gorsuch outlined the dilemma facing the court. Some people may think that the district court should have gone further, he suggested, while, quote, others will think the district court went too far by undervaluing the social benefits associated with amateur athletics. But in the end, Gorsuch emphasized the Supreme Court agreed with the Ninth Circuit that although, quote, the national debate about amateurism in college sports is important, it is not the Supreme Court's job to resolve it. Instead, Gorsuch observes the court's job is to determine whether the district court properly applied principles of antitrust law to this dispute, which Gorsuch concluded it did. Interesting. Brett Kavanaugh, I like beer, joined the court's opinion in full, but he also wrote a separate concurring opinion in which he questioned the legality of the remaining restrictions on benefits for college athletes. He made clear that although these restrictions were not before the court in this case, Monday's ruling established a framework for future challenges to the restrictions, and he wrote that there are serious questions about whether those rules, quote, can pass muster, end quote, under that framework. Kavanaugh, an avid sports fan who likes beer as well, he's an avid beer fan, who coaches his daughter's basketball teams and unsuccessfully tried out for the varsity basketball team while an undergraduate at Yale, acknowledged that college athletics includes important traditions that have become part of the fabric of America, but he warned the NCAA is not above the law. Interesting stuff. So essentially, players can't get paid yet. However, they can get different benefits. That's kind of cool. You know, weird that these, you know, the Supreme Court's a freaky institution. But yeah, that's what's going on there. Let's see what else we got here. I know we had a new Gymquisition that I wanted to watch. Let's see what the video games industry is. So look, they are.
Come on.
Oh, Commander Sterling. Oh, come on now.
Oh!
The guy's already hurt. He's already injured. And now this is not good. I do not like the. I do not like what's in the cards here for. Oh no! Well,
I mean, they're not even supposed to be here in the building at all.
After taking a hiatus last year, E3 returned in 2021 to fill our pretty little heads with the same lies and hype the game industry has fed us for a time now spanning decades. Though many have argued the lack of huge shock announcements or exciting press conferences led to a particularly disappointing event this year. Indeed, opportunities to be lied to and sold a bill of goods were not quite so abundant, and E3 felt particularly forced. I mean, did Capcom need to do a presentation where it precisely had dick fuck to show for itself? Probably not. But I wasn't feeling cold toward E3 this year because it was a shitty E3, though make no mistake, it was a shitty E3. No, I was already not into E3 long before it began, and as it started, my feelings of eye-rolling apathy morphed, mutated, if you will, into bitter, resentful, spiteful contempt. Something I've lately been told is off-brand for this show. Anyway, see, I've long since viewed E3 more as a work obligation than something to be truly excited for.
Yeah, E3. So for those of y'all who don't know, E3 is like this weird expo that happens with the video games industry mostly, where they like just have like one after another, sort of reveals from these, you know, from these video game industry people, right? Or these companies like Nintendo and PlayStation, Xbox, Capcom, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like pure spectacle. And it's basically like, you know, it's basically like when like Steve Jobs or whatever used to go and do his like his Apple talks where he would like, you know, announce the release of the latest iPhone or whatever the fuck. But like, this is an entire weekend devoted to every video game company doing that. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, it's just another industry convention, but like it gets a lot of mainstream attention, or not, maybe not even mainstream attention, but like related press attention, and people get like super hyped up about it. Like it's kind of weird. Like a bunch of nerds would often go there and you know, do the cosplay thing. And I say the term nerd with love, by the way. But anyway, here's Jim.
Something I've lately been told is off-brand for this show. Anyway, see, I've long since viewed E3 more as a work obligation than something to be truly excited for. And that goes back years. Like, when I think about it, I don't know the last time I didn't look at E3 and think, ugh, work. Once, I'm sure. A very, very, very long time ago, I had enough optimism and naivety to still view the Electronic Entertainment Expo as something approaching worth a shit. I remember being excited once. I can't remember what I was last excited about at E3. It was so long ago. Maybe Aliens vs. Predator by Rebellion in 2010. Look how that turned out. These days, however, it occurred to me that E3 is no longer a work obligation. The capital G gamers, those who live from video game to video game and talk about them in terms of a basic need like water or sleep, pretty soundly hate me. I've got nothing left to offer them. And I don't work for any games press outlets anymore, thank fuck, so I don't have to talk to the producers of AAA swill and pretend like I'm listening to the bullshit spewing from their holes while trying to ignore the abuses and exploitations of the publisher they work for. Doing press interviews and previews and refusing to hold the people who sell them accountable for anything.
And for those who don't watch Jim's usual work, but one of the things that they very, very are extremely focused on is sort of capitalism in gaming, how basically, these AAA producers will, again, have these extremely predatory models for like harvesting essentially money from consumers, whilst also like exploiting workers. Like the video games industry is actually extremely bad about it. There's this thing called crunch. We talked about this on the show a lot. Robert's probably way better versed at this kind of thing than I am. But like essentially this thing called crunch, where they essentially like put workers in a situation where they are working like super extra overtime for months on end to get essentially a game out by a specific release date. And there's a lot of abuses that go along with that. Yeah, it's really like, this is a great channel. It's really interesting stuff.
Do seems like a shit job. Meanwhile, I've discovered that not watching E3 is absolutely definitely the new watching E3. I've long since been an innovator in E3 coverage, though as with everything I've innovated or selflessly given to the world.
Yeah, they do crunch for like a year on Cyberpunk, and then they release it, and the game barely works on most systems, like PlayStation.
Never get credit for it. Because I am a genius with a huge brain that has knowledge in it, years ago I invented a method of journalistically covering E3 called, wait for it, not fucking going. This bold and new journalistic style, not fucking going, TM, was something I applied to PAX as well as E3, as I learned that actually attending these events is the worst way to actually get information and provide worthwhile coverage of the event, at least in ways that don't involve cuddling up to industry mouthpieces. The only thing you can't do is preview games on the show floor, and, well, previews are functionally worthless. One of the creative differences that saw me leave an old Games Press job involved my not fucking going technique, which aims to provide better coverage by staying the bloody hell home where the good internet connection is, not ruining my feet on a show floor surrounded by a swarm of sweating men, and choosing instead to just insult literally everything on Twitter. That's good coverage. By not fucking going, I was able to see all of the events, know about all of the games, and generally have a bird's eye informative view of all the news, as compared to actually attending and just being tired and hungry and confused and hearing about what happened through startled conversations in the press room. Others have disagreed with my methods and said I had to start going to these events or it wouldn't work out. I didn't go. I have since evolved my technique and now offer a new form of E3 coverage called, wait for it, not fucking watching. And friends, I cannot begin to tell you how it has changed my life for the better. Possessed as I have been of pure bitterness toward the video game industry in general and the Entertainment Software Association in particular, I decided this was the year to truly stop giving a damn about watching these stupid conferences full of garbage and shit. Instead of sitting through hours of people talking complete and total nonsense, you really can just wake up the morning after each E3 day and watch whatever trailers look interesting to you without the marketing speak and auto-fallacious developer interviews, therefore having enough time for better things, like eating a sandwich. All these years I've endured press conferences and showcases and had to listen to them drone on and on about hardware sales and new SKUs and fucking football games and bloody Forza. And God, oh God, how much more of a life I could have had in the 2010s if I hadn't watched Microsoft and Sony just lie for days about their desperate Wii-copying motion controllers. Oh, the time I could have saved if I hadn't sat through Peter Molyneux lying his fucking head off about Milo.
Yeah, it's just a commercial, and like, yeah, it's for marketing, it's for consumption. Like it's framed as an industry event, like it's framed as an interesting an industry convention. But like the way specifically this has gone is to market directly to consumers, right? And it's become this like whole fucking thing where like people are supposed to like think about this as an event, and like what I like about what Jim's doing here is they're basically saying, well, this is a bunch of bullshit, and you probably shouldn't pay attention to it, which is a good approach. I mean, like it's pretty straightforward and principled, if you ask me.
Do you remember Milo? I don't. Not since Twitter banned him. With all that time saved, I could have at least gotten a few more wanks in. By not fucking watching, I freed literal hours upon hours of my life, so I may
Good morning, Ginny.
live it to the fullest. Note that I said I may live it to the fullest. I haven't been. But I've been living better than I would if I'd kept watching that Square Enix presentation. Doing nothing but watching wrestling and playing pinball is a sort of a life. But seriously though, that Square Enix presentation, what the fuck was that? I really did try this year just once to see if it was worth actually giving one of these presentations a shot. The presentation began with Guardians of the Galaxy, and they showed that game off for so fucking long, I felt my entire life would end with Guardians of the goddamn Galaxy. Why give over that much time to what, let's be honest, looks like an video game, TM. I mean, its gameplay looks factory standard, visually it don't stand out, it's got that Marvel's Avengers thing going on where the characters look just enough like their film counterparts to resemble cheap knockoffs, and if we're gonna shun diplomacy, we might as well admit that no AAA game is worth dedicating that much time to previewing. Hardly any of them are worth even playing. I think I got as far as maybe the second long-winded developer interview after some other game I can't fucking remember before I thought, fuck this, and switched it off. It was everything I've come to expect from any E3 showcase. Bloviated, vacuous, and way too goddamn boring. Later on, I watched a trailer for Babylon's Fall and found it really interesting, until the news dropped that it was being developed as a live service.
Now, the other thing, though, about the E3 thing that I've noticed more and more is that it is becoming capital C content for a lot of people. Like I've seen so many, I mean, and this might be like the only way to actually watch this kind of stuff is like, you know, you see streamers like, you know, Donkey or fucking like Hassan or like whoever, you know, name them. They'll just like do their bits and do live reacts to all this stuff just because like it fills time, it fills content, and that's the whole point of it. Like it's just part of the ecosystem, like the media sort of ripple effect. Which, I mean, maybe that's the only way that shit's watchable, right?
This title because they're still doing that wretched crap, and I pretty immediately decided the game could fuck off and never take up precious RAM in my huge space brain ever again. Just fuck that shit. Fuck off with your live services from now on. I literally don't have time for it. Nobody careening toward middle age does. They certainly shouldn't have time for live services. You're too near death to play Marvel's The Avengers, you old millennial fuckers. Stop before it's too late. So this year I thought I'd peruse the trailers that looked interesting and fuck off the stuff that didn't. And you really do save so much time when you cut out the garbage like the totally not political Battlefield 2042 and everything Ubisoft has and ever will publish because their CEO...
I'm good, Jenny. How you been? It's been a little bit. What you been up to?
Protected abusers for years and still hasn't told us everything he knew. Oh, and let me bloomin' tell you. E3 going in early with the Vatican of video games and its ill-thought event was pretty much all the sour taste I needed to remain resentful the rest of the week. Just seeing everyone but a minority of people forget what Ubisoft was caught out for just last year was quite frankly grotesque, to say nothing of the pushback I got when I decided to offer a reminder. People are so slavishly devoted to their precious publishers, they truly do not want to hear a bad word said about the capitalist corpos who produce and sell the video games. I get accused now of talking about it too much, and I'm told to just move on and get over it, as if everything Ubisoft did and covered for and continues to perpetuate never happened. Because Assassin's Creed! Seriously, receiving angry messages from Uber simps because they want to be excited
Uber
about toys
simps.
made under the leadership of actual monsters provides a particularly unique form of disillusionment with both the industry and the community around it. And people wonder why there's an occasional bitter tone in these videos. I'm so sorry if refusing to forget what the company did inconveniences anybody, but it's kinda hard for some of us to forget that Ubisoft spent years protecting abusers, moving them around to avoid too many complaints, while human resources buried reports of inappropriate behavior up to and including sexual assault. Despite the company's claims, things are reportedly no different. Employees still report feeling unsafe and say nothing has really happened except for the company jettisoning those publicly named as abusive. Yves Schwimmo, CEO of the company, was friends with these abusers and continues to avoid questions regarding his own complicity. IGN, meanwhile, placed far more priority on shilling Far Cry 6's bullshit DLC to us, because that's what the gamers TM want. No think, only buy. Aside from a few outliers, almost all of games media completely forgot what Ubisoft did and are using their precious industry access to do the same shit they've always done. Act as glorified PR for shitty companies. So what I'm saying was, it was a bad way for my week to kick off on a personal note. Well, I mean, becoming the right-wing outrage machine's punching bag of the week was not a great way to start it, but hey, at least I don't expect...
Wait, what happened there? What happened? I missed that. Why did the right wing outrage machine like freak out over Jim? I know that they lost like a whole bunch of subs on YouTube when they came out as non-binary, but I didn't see what else went down there. Pronouns on a pole match. Also very funny about Jim is that they're a pro wrestler, like part-time in a company called Rise, which is hilarious. But let me see if I can find out what's going on here. I'll do it. Watch the video and then we'll do it.
Expect any better there. I mean, I really should stop expecting better anywhere. I can at least say I've gotten a new appreciation for pretty much everything outside of the mainstream as the AAA space becomes more and more distasteful and the games made become less and less for me. There are interesting things among the boring mass of digital dreck. First of all, Skatebird got a release date, and Skatebird might as well be the only video game ever released as far as I'm concerned.
Skatebird.
Look at the burbs! Look at them skate! Look at them flap! Look at them flap and skate. They're chunky little fat little burbs on the skating boards. And I want to look after every single one of them and protect them from predators such as cats or Ubisoft executives. Now that's good video game. What else? Replaced. That looks real good. It's got like beautiful animation and shit. I like that. Tiny Kin. That looks nice, doesn't it? Look, very beautiful cartoon animation and some puzzle-solving Pikminery. I'm into that. As a fan of Pony Island and Hex, this follow-up game Inscription looks bloody marvelous. I mean, it's an interesting thing with cards, which I'm not fond of like card games, but card game mechanics in other things, I'm all aboard for. The visuals are like a CD-ROM freak show. I'm very much into it. Why would I play Battlefield 2042 when I could play Gloomwood? It's probably more political. I like the premise of Somerville, being a family trying to escape during an alien invasion while all of the video game action's going on and you're just trying to run away from it. I really like that perspective. So that looks like that's going to be good. I was looking up a reminder. This one's called Hunt the Night. I know that I'm just doing an audio recording while looking at the trailer. I haven't even got headphones on. Oh, that looks really neat. I know I'm known to be a bit of a sucker for these retro-looking indies like this. Oh, that's cute, though. Come out of a closet, did that monster. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Hunt the Night. Justin, I don't know how
Maybe
you're going
that'll
to
be
edit
good.
that audio without it being confusing, mate. Wizard with a gun is called Wizard with a Gun, and Death Trash is called Death Trash. Aside from the fact both those games look good, the names sell me enough. In all honesty, there was a ridiculous number of indie games shown off this year that got a little more breathing space because the major AAA publishers failed to bring their AAA game. And that's good, because a lot of good games are being made, and I'll admit that I often lose sight
Morning watermelon pickle.
of that because I focus way too much on the big mainstream shit. So I need to focus less on that. Also, A Plague Tale Requiem was announced. That's obviously high on my list of interests since the first is one of my favourite games ever, and that'll do for positive stuff. Now on to Nintendo, locking increasingly functional content behind its amiibo bollocks. I used to defend those things, those amiibos, but once they started locking full-on quality of life improvements for fucking remasters behind expensive plastic tat, they could officially fuck off till the end of time. Even their one big fan-pleasing announcement, Metroid Dread, has been undermined both by amiibo locking upgrades, but also releasing yet another special edition in such limited quantities that eBay is already full to the brim with scalpers offering it an absurd markup.
Jesus
And that's not just
Christ.
Nintendo's fault. That's the fault of this entire community. What have we done to ourselves? What have we done to ourselves that it's acceptable to put games up for $200+ the moment they're actually announced? I shit on game publishers for price hikes and conning the public. Stop putting them to shame. Just no matter what the game, no matter the announcement, it's the same old shit. I watched the Devolver Digital event, obviously, yearly tradition. I will watch that one. But even Devolver's bit of performance art this year fell flat with me, considering their smug takedown of video game monetization follows the release of a literal free-to-pay title in Fall Guys, which reminds you that, well, despite all of the words and the performances, Devolver Digital is still a corporation like all the rest. To say nothing of the audio...
Yeah, that is very meta, right? Like, they're gonna do, like, shtick on their, like, on essentially, like, they're doing a bit to make them feel better about the fact that they do, like, this predatory storefrontery. It's kind of crazy. It is kind of crazy. You get all your games on sale or for free. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is like there's this obsession with new games. Joke's on them. My video card's too shitty to run most of the good games. So, haha.
Visual noise and poor audio mix making much of their video unpassable to me, at least personally. God damn, I'm hollow. Sony had the right idea. It's had the right idea for a while now. Fuck E3. Nobody really needs it. It's just a waste of your time and the industry's money. As E3 wraps up for another year, I've come to the conclusion that I truly do hate all video games, every single person who's ever made one, everybody who's ever played one, everybody who's ever looked at one, and everybody who's even so much as heard of video games. I hate video games because they made me hate video games, because after well over a decade of covering this abusive, shitty, exploitative, predatory industry, nothing has changed. Even worse, nobody wants it to change. In fact, the only thing people seem to want changed is me. They want me to stop going on about it. The press won't hold it to account. The community just wants to be guiltlessly hyped for corporate products. The publishers continue to scare money out of vulnerable people with manipulative economies, continue to treat their workers like absolute shit, and continue to produce lower and lower quality products for the benefit of shareholders and shareholders alone. Like I said last year, it's just a truly fucked up industry, and it's made me feel burn the fuck up from the inside out. But I'm not going to stop going on about it because
like Jim makes me like feel like I like blackpilled about video games, honestly.
so few of us do. And friends, it needs going the fuck on about. And that's my report for E3 2021. See you next year. Hype!
Commander Sterling.
Commander Sterling making their way down to the ring. What do they want crashing the proceedings here?
Oh, you see that commentator used there as a pronoun. You see, wrestling commentators, it's that simple. Some shit happened this weekend. I've been very busy this weekend. It's why I don't have your traditional live action intros and outros. But next week we'll talk about the commentators that refused to gender me properly and then threatened to punch my fans in the face and then locked their Twitter account after trying to be a tough guy on the internet. Now that's punk. And thank God for me. It's really not that difficult. They, them. It's they, them.
Definitely sub to Jim. Jim's great. They're like, they've been doing this for a very long time. Like extremely consistent critique of the video games industry. Let's see what Donkey's got a video on this as well. So let's take a look at that. Donkey's pretty funny.
B3, B3, 4, 5, 3, 6, 3, 7, 3 more. No games this year. See you next year, everybody.
Hello, Jeff.
Kojima kicked this one off by talking about 9/11, COVID, and Death Stranding. So it's all uphill from that point. I do not like this game, but damn, does this game have the best trailers of any video game.
Jeff. One more thing.
A lot of indie game premieres. There's 1, 2 strand type games, 2 claymation games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Pokemon Snap type games. One of them is called Paparazzi. 15 farming games, 4 Left 4 Dead type games, not counting Overwatch 2, which showed us a 3D model of Baptiste. Blizzard, please don't tell me this is the only thing you made so far. There was 1, 2, 3, 4 video games where you make soup. Ladies and gentlemen, 4 soup type games. This is what video games is like now. Guardians of the Galaxy, you fight a fucking Jello cube. Oh, you don't think Jello is a good enemy? Well, that's why they put in a red Jello to fight also. Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo is one of the best movies ever made. Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo, the video game, is one of the most confusing announcements.
God, this is like, I didn't pay attention to most of this shit, but like the fact that they're trying to do like 1950s nostalgia for a 2020 game, like they're just licensing Alfred Hitchcock now for video games? What the fuck?
Ever made. My only guess here is that they saw Persona 5 and were like, Persona? Next they're gonna make a fucking Clerks video game. Battlefield 2077 had one of the coolest trailers of E3. Everybody is seeing, the grapple hook, and they're seeing a dude drive an ATV off of a roof into a helicopter.
Whoa.
People are getting hyped for this. They're getting excited, and I really do feel bad. I feel bad about having to ruin it for everybody, but I'm sorry, everybody.
Saber and Prime Matter are working together on a new game in the Painkiller franchise.
All right, very cool on that.
They're doing a Fall Guys 2. They're doing a Far Cry 6. This game is extremely unpolitical. As a gamer, I always hate to see politics in video games. I hate to see developers use video games to comment on real-life issues or try to tell a story or be creative, and that's what's so great about Ubisoft as a company, is that they would never have the balls to do any of that.
Fidel Castro, Ceausescu, and also Hitler.
Gex of the Wild, Breath of the Wild, Elden Ring, Starfield. It was nice to see these games, but we didn't really learn much.
Yeah, I'm good, Jenny. How about you? I'm doing all right. Hanging in there.
About them. Elden Ring comes out January, and you can summon enemies to fight for you. Miyazaki is really talking up the freedom and variety of its combat, which is not something I associate with From Software's games, because their games are so difficult and punishing, it really discourages you from experimenting. But I do think these guys get better with every game, and I hope that they can step out of the shadow of Dark Souls and create something new and fresh. Starfield is a space game. Okay, and Zelda is coming out next year. The trailer they showed was like, bitch, it's Zelda. We don't even need to sell you on this. Seems like the main hooks of the sequel are going to be aerial traversal and also time travel. They don't really showcase it much, but it seems like you can rewind time in this game. Mario and Rabbids, Sparks of Hope.
Is that like Majora's Mask, where you have to like make sure the moon doesn't like smash into the earth or whatever?
Mario and Rabbids really snuck up on me and ended up being the best game Ubisoft has put out since Rayman Legends in 2013. You had a beautiful soundtrack by Grant Kirkhope.
You want to know
fancy
more about the
cutscenes.
soup games?
The combat was strategic and satisfying, and you could fight a giant rabid Donkey Kong. However, I feel like all of these tactical games got the volume turned down on them when Into the Breach came out. This game just perfected that style of gameplay by eliminating all of the wheel spinning the genre is plagued by. Just like Zelda and open world games, I think it's going to take a while for everyone else to catch up.
Jeff Goldblum.
Thank you so much.
What the fuck?
Joffrey or Joffrey or Joffrey or sorry, I think it's world premiere.
Are you a fan of dinosaurs? I won't get angry if you aren't.
Nope.
What?
Somerville. Okay, this is the story behind Somerville. Playdead. The guys who made Inside. The two co-founders were pissed off at each other, so one of them bought the other guy out of the company, and now they're making two separate games. Best case scenario, we get two incredible games. Playdead still hasn't showed their game in action, but Somerville is looking good. Very polished looking, and I just love this type of visual and atmospheric storytelling. E3 actually brought me in this year. They were interviewing a bunch of streamers and YouTubers about their favorite indie games. They even had the guy from The Test around there.
Florence, Across the Grooves,
Stardew Valley,
Oxygen Not Included,
Firewatch,
Everhood is definitely my favorite indie game.
Evans Remains,
Slay the Spire,
Oxenfree is very good,
Dead Cells,
Cuphead,
Inside, the side scroller,
What Remains of Edith Finch, Hollow Knight, Celeste,
Journey,
Little Nightmares.
You already know this. Among Us. Bike Race 2 Million looks like a hilarious clusterfuck. Co-op WarioWare is coming out this year. They've announced a sequel to a Suikoden game that hasn't even come out yet. I can't make this shit up. These ideas are beyond my level.
We have this decorative ball. Voila! Congratulations, Dragon Quest 35th anniversary. That was a wonderful decorative ball with a great banner.
I do like
Dragon
the
Quest
slime.
3 looks pretty cool.
I do like the slime on the desk, that big plush slime.
That was a wonderful decorative ball with a great banner.
Dragon Quest 3 looks pretty cool. Dragon Quest 12 is fucking evil, and apparently it's not turn-based either. Psychonauts 2 is finally coming out in August. No. Halo Infinite. Oh boy. Well, the director of Halo Infinite left the game, so they brought in someone else. And then that person left. What is happening behind the scenes with this game? But Xbox made a power play during E3, and they said, Halo Infinite multiplayer will be free. That is awesome, and I feel like EA really needs to follow suit with Battlefield. It also says Xbox thinks we'll pay full price for the single player of Halo Infinite, which a lot of people probably won't. A couple weeks before E3, there was rumors that Nintendo was working on a new Donkey Kong game, and I think that somebody got confused. Nintendo skipped 4 and went straight to Metroid 5. This was the big reveal of E3 to me. Samus Returns had a lot of cool ideas, and here is the perfect opportunity to perfect them. I definitely prefer the 2D Metroid games, and I hope this can give Silksong and Prime 4 a run for their money. Then Tekken showed up, and threw Ganondorf into a volcano, so he's dead. Well, he was already dead. He's throwing him in the pit. Get it? That's just arms. You can throw them in there. Ain't nobody care about that. Oh, no, not Kirby. No. He killed Kirby. Square Enix, the masterminds behind Balan Wonderworld, showed off Final Fantasy 16 a while back.
Whoa.
And it was very weird because they showed a trailer for Final Fantasy, but I didn't feel secondhand embarrassment for RPG fans while watching it. Thankfully, Square rectified this at this year's E3.
I'm here to kill Chaos. That's my mission. Looks like Chaos has been waiting for us. I only know one thing. I want to kill Chaos.
You sure Chaos is here?
This is the Shrine of Chaos. Chaos.
And who are you?
We're here to kill Chaos.
Chaos!
Chaos.
Looks pretty epic, right?
So that's it for today. We're gonna go ahead and raid Bleep Blomp Ben. I got to get to work. So Twitch folks, y'all hang tight. Let me get that set up. And everybody else, y'all have an awesome day. Let's go ahead and raid. But yeah, you can be like Dan O, Jonathan H, Timothy C, Dragon Slayer 19, Andy L, Gary W, Rachel K, Kenneth F, Adam R, Trey M, Watermelon Pickle, Penelope D. Also be like Ty Jitty and Michael H. By going to patreon.com/Good Morning Comrade, you can become a subscriber. We're really trying to get to 25. So y'all have a good day. Please help us out. We're gonna go ahead and, like I said, raid Bleep Blomp Ben. Hey everybody. Something went wrong. Oh, hello. Boom.